Well, hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, the assembly of the Rikon 30-212 variable speed drill press. I've had the opportunity to get myself a new Rikon variable speed drill press, and I thought I would take you along for the ride of the assembly. Once again, there aren't very many videos of Rikon products on the web, and I thought if I was looking for it, maybe you would be too. So let's get over to the package and see what we've got. Well, just so that we're getting the model straight, it's the Rikon 30-212 VS, or variable speed 12-inch drill press. Now, the first step in any of this installation will be to clean the protective anti-rust coating that they've put on this, which is basically grease as far as I'm concerned. So using any kind of household degreaser, you'll be fine just to get it off. I wouldn't use any kind of turpentine, gasoline, Varsol, anything like that, as it can damage the painted surfaces. Once you get the grease cleaned off, we want to protect the surface, and you can use whatever type of coating you like. Popular ones are paste wax, silicone spray, that sort of thing. I actually prefer to use Autosol metal polish. It cleans it up really nicely. A little goes a long way, and on top of that, it gives it a really nice protective coating that lasts a long time. So it's up to you what you want to use. I'm going to use this. I have the glove there simply because if you've ever used metal polish, you'll know it can get nasty fast. So this process is going to continue for all cast iron parts that have this protective coating on it. You'll clean off all of the protective grease and then apply some kind of protectant. Well, our next step is to attach our column to our base, and we're just going to sit it there in place. We've got a 5/8 of an inch wrench here, and I'm a huge fan of using anti-seize on bolts. So anytime, in my opinion, that you're putting something together like this, a little bit of anti-seize on your bolt is going to go a really long way should you ever want to take this apart. Dissimilar metals corrode, so guys, if you want to do the anti-seize, I would strongly suggest it. Either way, we're going to get this column bolted down to our base. And once you get it in place where you want it and get it centered here on the base, just tighten it up with your 5/8 wrench. Now you may notice that I've got the protective plastic still on everything, and the reason for that is this stuff is still coated in that anti-rusting grease, so it'll be much easier to clean off once we get it here onto the base, and the plastic just helps keep my hands a little cleaner. One thing to note when installing your column is that the arm for your drill press table is facing out the front, and your toothed rail that will house your rack and pinion and allow that to work, that will be on the right side of the column. These toothed rails and the retaining rings, both top and bottom, they are set and installed from the factory, but they're tightened and held in place with an Allen key or a set bolt right here. So you just want to take the provided Allen wrench and just make sure that those two are tight. So you'll use the smaller wrench on the top column, and down at the bottom there will be a one down here on the right hand side, and you just make sure that that is tight as well. It's now time to put the locking handle in on our drill press. And on the back part of our table lift here, you've got one section that is not threaded and one section that is threaded. So your locking handle, I've put a tiny bit of anti-seize on the threads, will slide in through the section with no threads and simply screw into the section that has threads to be able to lock down your table. We're now going to install our raising and lowering handle, and to do that we're just going to spin this around to give you a better view, and you'll find that it's got a flat section right here. You're just going to slide the handle on. We're going to rotate it to make it a little easier to work on here, just like that. And we're just going to slide this on here, and then there's a set key or a set screw. Using the provided Allen keys, we're just going to tighten that down. It's now time to install our front locking handle of our table, and it's the same process as the back. I put a little bit of anti-seize on there to keep it moving and to keep it loose, and there we go, that is now installed. Now the next step couldn't be simpler. We're just going to unwrap our table here that is covered in this anti-rusting compound, and we're going to place the stem of it down through that hole, and using our lever that we just installed, we can tighten that up to keep it from rotating. Once we get it tightened down, we'll clean this up just like we did all of the other cast iron surfaces. We're now going to place the body of the drill press onto the column, and it is quite heavy, it is quite awkward, so save your back and get yourself someone to help you. Basically, all you want to do is lift that whole drill press head assembly up onto the pedestal, line it up with the hole, and it will sink down onto the pedestal until it meets the casting stops that are inside that head of the drill press. If it's not going in, you may want to check your set screws to make sure that they're fully loosened off and that they're not causing you a problem. But lower the head down, and then once you get it in place, line it up with the base of your drill press as best you can, and then using the Allen keys that they gave you, tighten up the two little set screws that are on the side of the drill press. Well, our next step is to install the pull-down handles that will be on the drill press. I prefer to use a little bit of thread locker on this, or Loctite. And you want the blue kind, the kind that you can break free if needed, but I've had more than one drill press that over time, as the vibrations of the drilling processes are happening, our handles loosen up, and it drives me absolutely crazy. Now they've provided a little 8mm wrench here that you can give a little torque to these things, and with that thread locker on there, that will be fine and it will not be coming loose on me. So I'm going to install the rest of them, and then we can move on to the next step when we're done that. In much the same fashion that we installed the handles on the right side of the drill press, we're going to install the handle for the speed control, and that is on the left side. So we've got a little bit of thread locker on there, just like we did on the other side of the press, and we're just going to screw this speed handle into our assembly. So the next step is to install the chuck, and we have it here along with the post that it gets installed in with the Morse tapers on either end. And our short Morse taper is going to go into the back of our drill press chuck. We're going to lower this just like this, and it gets inserted, and you can see at the side here, looking through the slots, whether or not you're lined up. If you're not lined up, let me just show you here, it won't go in. You can see that, but if you line it up properly, there you go. It just went in that last little bit. And then using a mallet, rubber mallet, or you could use a hammer with a block of wood to protect this, you want to open the chuck up so that the jaws of the chuck are completely recessed up inside, and then holding the chuck in place with a mallet, in this case mine's wood, give it a couple cracks in place, and that should be enough with the friction fit to hold it where it needs to be. The final step in the installation will be to use these two holes right here and bolt my drill press to this cabinet that I have it on. Far too many guys are not bolting down drill presses. You see it all the time on the YouTube channels. Guys, seriously, bolt this thing down. It's 2 bolts. It'll keep it from crashing down on you. Well, for a change on the show, I didn't talk your ear off and we have some extra time. So why not go through some of the features of this drill press? Well, we seem to live in a world where LED lighting is in every single tool that we have, and this drill press is no exception. They've provided an LED work light that's right up here inside the head of the drill press, and it does a fantastic job from what I can see of illuminating your work down below. Well, another feature of the drill press would be laser crosshairs for your drilling. Here we have the lasers pointed and they cross at where I've drilled, and that's great and all, but what if you lower that depth of the drill bit? Well, you can see that the crosshairs are adjusting here because of the way that they're aligned. Will this be a useful feature for me? I honestly don't know. Will I use it? I don't know that either, but at least you know it's there. Well, of course, another feature of the drill press is speed control, and we're down here at about 260, 270 RPM, but by moving this knob that you installed earlier forward towards you, you can increase the speed. One of the other features is their double nut depth stop here, and unlike the normal double nuts, these ones here are actually knurled nuts that you can just spin down, and from what I can see they lock in pretty securely. So you've got them on the top and the bottom, one to adjust the height of your quill and the other one to prevent the flow or the travel of your chuck. And just another bell and whistle would be their chuck key mount right here. Normally I just use a rare earth magnet, but it's nice to have a little place to mount your chuck key right in front there where it's easy to access and easy to put away. And there you have it. The Rikon 30-212 VS variable speed drill press. Guys, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have bought it, and I was lucky enough to be able to sell one tool that I no longer use to pay for this one. So in that regards, I got off pretty easy. But I'm going to tell you, the price tag on this drill press is a little on the upper scale as far as a drill press goes. I mean, it drills holes, and you have the extra bells and whistles of the laser and the LED work light and the variable speed. And all that jazz is nice, but when it boils down to it, it's still just a drill press. Guys, I know that this drill press is a welcome addition in my shop. I've had my old one for many years, and it was just time for a change, and I was able to have that opportunity to do that. So I hope you've enjoyed today's show, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the assembly and just seeing a couple of the features. If you tuned in actually for the assembly by searching it out, I hope that I've answered your questions that you had that caused you to search it out. But if not, please drop it down in the comments, ask me your questions, and I will do my best to answer them as soon as possible. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning into the show this week. I hope you've had fun. I sure as heck have. I hope you're going to join me next week when I bring you yet another woodworking video.